I'm gonna show you something beautiful.
Oh boy, this was a journey. Yeah, so we're doing something a little different today. I stumbled upon something that was just too entertaining not to share. We're going to be talking about werewolves today, but a little context. So I did a video recently talking about the new Wolfman movie that released. Talked about what I liked, what I didn't like, why it was disappointing, stuff like that. Typical YouTube bullshit. But it's not the video that's the topic of conversation. We're going to scroll down to the comments. And right here, someone going by JMD9402 left a comment. And it simply read, in 2025, we're still getting werewolves with no snout. Of course, complaining about the design in the Wolfman. It was a pretty normal complaint, nothing crazy, right? But then there was a comment, and it started a back and forth for the ages. It said, sigh, do you not know the difference between a werewolf and a wolfman? JDM then responded, what difference is there? And then it began. A comment thread of over 60 comments. That's just one long back and forth between these two guys, with a few guest appearances here and there. Now, I'm not going to read it word for word because some of this shit is pretty long, but I do want to go over it and highlight some of it because it's just so fascinating. The Ultimate goes on to explain that a typical werewolf is where you have the snout, pointy ears, and more of a wolf stature, and uses American Werewolf in London as an example. And then a wolfman, where it's more of a stature of a man, but with wolf qualities, like hairs, claws, etc. And definitely no long snout. GM responds, yeah, werewolf literally just means man-wolf. And almost all the creatures fiction that are called werewolves have the stature of a man, if not even taller. The Howling, Underworld, Helsing, Dog Soldier, etc. There's also media where they have more man-like features, yet they're called werewolves, like Teen Wolf. It seems like you're the only one on this planet who believes in this distinction. Yeah, he came back swinging. Bro just did not care. And then everything just escalates from here. Ultimate fired back with, bro over here complaining about lack of snouts on werewolves in movies called Wolfman. I literally just described you the difference between the two, and you still don't understand? The Howling, Underworld, Van Helsing, Dog Soldiers are literally the werewolves I'm describing. How much more do you need? I thought I'd be nice and not insult your intelligence, but that's literally how literal it gets. Why do you think there are two distinct werewolf designs? You said a werewolf needed a wolf stature. Last I checked, all those werewolves had a way bigger stature than a wolf, or do you not know what that word means? Your little distinction does not exist. Wolfmen are werewolves. They used the term werewolf in the original 1941 movie. Werewolf literally just means man-wolf. Never once did I say werewolves were limited to the movements of an actual wolf, and most of them tend to move like actuals anyway. What I meant, that obviously went over your head, was the appearance of a wolf, hence stature. You clearly had a misconception of werewolves where you believed them all to be like the design from Van Helsing, Underworld, etc., while completely ignoring the more human-like designs of a wolfman. That's your fault, which you ruined with your expectations. It couldn't be simpler, bud. You're completely ignoring the fact that there are two designs. It's called wolfman for a reason and not werewolf. You can mix and match the words all you want, but there's a clear distinction between the two. If it wasn't there wouldn't be two separate designs. I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall here.
Problem is, they both got a point.
Are you still following along? Because there's still a lot more to go. So now JMD starts addressing different points that Ultimate made. For the first one about wolf movements, he said, and never once did I ever mention movement. Imagine needing to invent your own arguments to fight rather than addressing the actual statements. The second one about appearance and stature, he says, which is not what stature means. Stature is height. Looks like I'm correct. You clearly don't know what that word means. Next one's about his own misconceptions of werewolves. He says, that's what you believe. Do you seriously forget your own stance in this argument? And for the last one about more human-like wolf designs, he just says, which is still just a werewolf. Try again. Ultimate comes back with, you're still completely ignoring the fact that there are two separate designs to werewolves, hence the separation to wolfman. Literally broke your entire argument in a couple sentences, albeit your paragraph. Try again. A little hard next time, lol. This is entertaining. And JMD says, nah, it's you who's still acting like this made-up distinction actually exists. Wolfman is just as much as a werewolf as the ones in Underworld, Dog Soldiers, or Van Helsing. Trying to justify the design because the names are different, except they aren't. The original Wolfman uses the term werewolf, and werewolf literally translates to man-wolf, is an argument just as lame as the creature in this movie. We're gonna do a little rapid fire back and forth real quick. You're lazy, bro. It's okay. It's why you got a phone. Look it up and say something besides werewolf equals man-wolf, because we acknowledge that. But you're yet to acknowledge the difference between the two. Come on, man. It's not that hard. Because there is no difference. A wolfman is a werewolf, plain and simple. Just stop. You're contradicting yourself. You complain about the lack of snout, which is a difference. Bullseye, got him. Nah, it's not a difference. It's just lazy werewolf design. It's a huge difference, as are the large pointy pointy ears that you so love. You just don't want to admit you're wrong.
There's like two wizards fighting.
Okay, so I think it's very clear no one is budging. They made their points, they made their stand, they're not changing their opinion. But then we get our first guest appearance. Someone pointing out, y'all aren't even taking into consideration lichens, which are different from werewolves and wolfmen, by the way. And just like that, it's just back on. The alternate responds with, not sure this guy would know the difference between those either. JMD? Sure, if you mean the difference between a good werewolf design and a lazy one. Says the guy with no argument beyond, it can't looks like a werewolf because werewolf isn't in the title. Then our guest star tries to steer the conversation back to lichens. So you're just not gonna mention lichens, bro? SMH. But these two are just at each other's throat. The ultimate. Buddy, you haven't provided a solid argument other than a definition. Feels like I'm talking to a child, but even they would understand the difference. That's your opinion. Once again, your expectations are what disappointed you. Our guest star comes back on. Why are both of y'all not acknowledging lichens? I'm starting to think neither one of you know the difference between the three. The ultimate responds, lichens aren't the subject matter now. Though you're right. They do have a distinction. But this guy can't even comprehend the difference between a basic werewolf and a wolfman, who by now have solidified differences in the genre. JMD hopping back in, there is no difference. Both are werewolves. This movie is just an insanely lazy werewolf design. And you're right, I am disappointed that a werewolf film with a multi-million-dollar budget and the modern technology of 2025 couldn't be bothered to do the bare minimum for werewolf design. Our guest star tries to steer the conversation back into everybody's attention.
Look here! Look, listen!
I can tell you the main difference between all three if you want, but when and if I do, it's gonna blow your socks off. Just let me know if you want a definitive answer to this argument y'all are having so we can all move on and be friends. So here he is trying to broker some peace, alright? It gets completely ignored, and we have a new special guest, Mystic Moon, hopping in, responding to the ultimate. You must be the type of guy who cries when wyverns are called dragons. You must think buffalo wings actually come from flying bovine. And just like that, a new contender has entered the ring. Ultimate responds, got the wrong guy, Gumbo. Mystic Moon? No. The other guy ain't the one acting like a werewolf and wolfman are completely different. Ultimate, buddy, you're going in circles. If there's no difference, then why do they look different? JMD hops back on in, lazy design. Ultimate responds, you're not a real fan then, because with that logic, you hate Lon Chaney's Jr.'s design and Benicio del Toro's Wolfman design too. You're probably like vampires, SMH. You know what? If you hate it so much, never watch the movie again or similar ones for that matter, so we can finally stop talking about this. This debate has stayed well past its welcome. And now we're coming towards the end of the argument, and here JMD does respond to several parts of the previous comment, but the ultimate really is not interested in reading it. Then JMD points out that half of that whole paragraph is actually him quoting him, so it's kind of a cell phone. Then he tells him to cope. JMD says that's the classic words of a man who lost the argument, and the ultimate starts mocking him. Oh, your wolfy design didn't have a snout or pointy ears? Oh no, cope harder. JMD says, buddy, just ask me out if you're this desperate to talk to me. You realize you can start responding as well, right? Who says I want this to stop? I'm just pointing out how you say this debate has overstayed its welcome, yet you so eagerly want to talk to me.
Y'all argue too much. God, what the hell wrong with y'all? Y'all should get married.
Okay, it basically ends with the ultimate saying that, you know what, I'm not responding anymore. Then we had a third special guest appearance mentioning Van Helsing and werewolves aren't scary, and a wolfman being humanoid is fine. He just should have had some fucking fur. Then our second guest from quite a while ago, Mystic Moon, responds to him saying, what, an action movie rated PG-13 ain't meant for horror? Impossible. But then he tells the ultimate, yeah, that's right, you better run. To which the ultimate comes right back in with a yawn. And now these two start arguing for a little bit, just going back and forth with each other. It's just pure insanity, if I'm being honest. But then our very first special guest decides to chime in at the very end saying, can we get back on track and start talking about what's really important, lichens? And that right there is where our tale ends. If I'm being honest, I found this entire thing pretty insane and just really hilarious. And the fact that I went down my own comment section is kind of funny. Yeah, I know this video is completely different from what I normally do, but this was just too entertaining not to share. And I hope you guys got a kick out of it because I certainly did. And I wish these two the best of luck in their future endeavors. But I want to tell you, personally, thank you, because that was a blast. And hopefully you guys now have a mutual respect for each other.
Let's say that you've learned your lesson now, and I've learned a little lesson, and we'll call it even.
Yeah, I don't got shit else to say, so see ya.
Let's face it. I'm not being funny. I mean, no disrespect. But you're a cunt.
Please, we're good people here. We just need some help. We can help you.